Hello and welcome to the Collegium, our monthly magazine program in 3 parts: Cinema, State of Affairs, and our Arts Calendar. For our Cinema 1 portion of the program, we present The Return of the Repressed, a trailer from a film that you will see later on in the program, and also that has been invited to the United States of America and will be screened in a film festival in San Francisco. We then proceed to State of Affairs 1 with an oral presentation by Aïssa, Rabbaoui, and Kahina, Rabbaoui. This lady and this gentleman will speak about The Return of the Repressed, a film that they are intimately involved with. We then proceed to Cinema 2, where we screen the film The Return of the Repressed, which was produced and directed here in Germany, an excerpt from it anyway. Last but not least, conversation from Oscar Brown Jr., What's Wrong with This Picture? Take Too Long, and Colored Frames. So in addition to staying cool, remember you are participating in what else but the Collegium.
Do you know what happened between 1921 and 1926? A world torn apart, a world rebuilt. Why does it not appear in the history books? Why is it not made public? Events unknown, stories forgotten, a history repressed. The largest chemical warfare of all time. Who participated in this chemical warfare? The consequences of this war are, and continue to be, palpable. This chapter of history concerns us all, more than ever, for within it lies the key to understanding and improving the world in which we live. Two young filmmakers have undertaken an extensive project to examine this history as it is presented by today's institutions. We must unlock our memories to release our expectations. What happened then and there lies within our scope of memory, with the power to inform what happens here and now.
Mein Name ist Kahina Rabbaoui und ich bin 12 Jahre alt und Schülerin in Berlin.
Mein Name ist Aïssa Rabbaoui, ich bin 13 Jahre alt und Schüler in Berlin.
Die Erziehung ist eine Kunst. Der Grund für unser Interesse an der Gesellschaft war die Entdeckung von Martin Luther King und Malcolm X. Wir verstanden zwar nicht, was sie sagten, aber durch ihre Stimme und ihre Betonungen waren wir von ihren Reden fasziniert. Durch ihre Persönlichkeiten und ihr Engagement für die Gleichberechtigung aller in der Gesellschaft haben wir auch ein Interesse für Gerechtigkeit und damit ein Gespür für Ungerechtigkeit entwickelt.
Wir kamen auf die Idee, eine Weltreise zu unternehmen, um möglichst viele Kulturen, Menschen und ihre Geschichte kennenzulernen. Während unserer Weltreise wollen wir die verdrängten Geschichten ans Licht bringen, indem wir sie dokumentieren und die Lehrbücher in Frage stellen. Besonders die Geschichtsbücher, weil wir überzeugt sind, dass dort der Hass, die Ängste, das Misstrauen und die Leugnung der Rechte anderer entstehen. Wir haben uns vorgenommen, so viele Sprachen wie möglich zu sprechen. Die Verankerung in der Kultur, Literatur, Poesie und anderen Formen des künstlerischen Ausdrucks hat uns ermöglicht, unsere Wahrnehmung für die Welt zu schärfen.
Wir haben zu Hause eine Art Schreibwerkstatt gemacht, uns jeder eine kleine Geschichte ausgedacht und sie aufgeschrieben. Wir sahen viele Filme, um jedes Mal besonders auf die Dramaturgie, die Dialoge und auf die Filmsprache zu achten. Nach und nach fingen wir an, die Filmsprache zu beherrschen.
In allen Projekten war die Kreativität und die Neugier der Kern unseres Konzeptes. Alle unsere Ideen sind Teil eines philosophischen Projektes, das sich vom professionellen Projekt unterscheidet. Das heißt, unsere Ideen sind von der Schule unabhängig.
Eigentlich wollten wir in den Sommerferien nach Marokko fliegen. Das hat sich aber verzögert, so sind wir dann doch in Berlin geblieben und haben ein Projekt gestartet, das wir Berlin Entdeckungsreise durch Skulpturen und Denkmäler genannt haben. Die Idee war es, durch Berlin zu fahren, Skulpturen und Denkmäler zu fotografieren und danach zu recherchieren, mit welchem Hintergrund sie wen oder was darstellen sollen.
Durch dieses Projekt sind wir auf das Denkmal Rosa Luxemburgs und Karl Liebknecht am Berliner Tiergarten gestoßen. In Friedrichsfelde entdeckten wir einen mit Emotionen und Geschichte aufgeladenen Ort. Später haben wir angefangen, über Rosa Luxemburg zu dokumentieren. Danach haben wir durch Rosa Luxemburg und ihre Zeit den Kolonialismus und mit ihm die Berliner Konferenz und den Reefkrieg entdeckt.
Wir waren schockiert, als wir gesehen haben, dass die Kolonialmächte sich untereinander die Landkarte Afrikas aufgeteilt haben und dass heute nicht darüber gesprochen bzw. an Schulen oder Universitäten gelehrt wird. Die Berliner Konferenz war ein Wendepunkt in der Geschichte und hat das Schicksal der Welt bestimmt. Und das hat uns ermutigt, uns mit dieser Zeit auseinanderzusetzen.
Wir haben zuerst den Reefkrieg als Filmthema genommen. Später wollen wir unsere kleine Dokumentation über Rosa Luxemburg fertigstellen. Wir haben 2 Jahre an unserem Film The Return of the Repressed gearbeitet. Aktuell ist unser Film in internationalen Filmfestivalplattformen angenommen und nominiert worden. Das ist für uns eine Belohnung, aber auch eine große Verantwortung. Wir wollen den Reefkrieg ein Denkmal setzen, um den Kindern und den Opfern dieses Krieges zu gedenken.
Nach dem Projekt The Return of the Repressed haben wir entdeckt, dass es noch viele andere verdrängte Geschichten gibt. So zum Beispiel die Pariser Kommune, die ebenfalls eine von vielen verdrängten Geschichten ist. Wir waren sehr aufgewühlt, als wir verstanden haben, dass so viele Kinder, Frauen und Männer ihr Leben für die Freiheit und die späteren Generationen gegeben haben.
Wir würden gerne eine internationale Tournee in den Schulen und Universitäten machen, um unseren Film in Europa und in den USA zu zeigen, das Publikum zu sensibilisieren und über die Wichtigkeit der Geschichte und die Notwendigkeit, uns Erinnerungen anzueignen, zu sprechen.
Wir wollen unsere Erfahrungen, unsere Emotionen und unsere Vision mit allen Kindern in der Welt, die aufgrund von Krieg und Ungerechtigkeit leiden, teilen. Ob in Afrika, im Nahen Osten oder dem Rest der Welt, ihre Zukunft und ihre Hoffnungen wurden ihnen grausam geraubt.
Wir sind allen Freunden, Bekannten und allen jenseits dieses Kreises, die uns unterstützt haben, sehr dankbar. Sie sind eine großartige Bereicherung und Hilfe. Ebenfalls bedanken wir uns bei unserem Vater, der uns bei allen Projekten unterstützt hat und ermutigt hat, diese Projekte zu machen.
It will be
Die folgende Geschichte hat sich um 1920 in Nordmarokko abgespielt, in der Nähe von Melilla. Ein großer Widerstandskämpfer und Philosoph, ein gewisser Abdelkrim al-Khattabi, hatte es geschafft, einen kleinen Staat aufzubauen und den Spaniern und den Franzosen mehrere Jahre lang erfolgreich die Stirn zu bieten. Die spanischen Soldaten hatten Nordmarokko besetzt, während die französischen Truppen den Rest des Landes erobert hatten. Sie wollten das Land und die Bevölkerung ausbeuten. Da in der Nähe von Melilla viel Eisenerz gefunden wurde, wurde die Bevölkerung um den Minen ausgenutzt, um die Chefs der industriellen Großkonzerne zufriedenzustellen. Mit wachsender Angst musste Spanien zusehen, wie die Autorität und die Popularität Abdelkrims und den ansonsten verfeindeten Rifstämmen wuchs und wuchs. Ab 1921 fing Spanien offiziell den Krieg in Nordmarokko an, wo es historische Verluste erlitt. So zum Beispiel in der Schlacht von Anual. Die Kolonialmächte hatten sich verbündet, mit unterschiedlichen Interessen, aber mit einem Ziel. Sie wollten die Revolution Abdelkrims um jeden Preis niederschlagen, weil sie Angst hatten, dass der Rifkrieg als Beispiel für andere nationale Befreiungsbewegungen dienen könnte, die ihre Kolonien gefährden würden. Trotz ihrer Bemühungen konnten sie nicht verhindern, dass die Revolution von Abdelkrim als Beispiel für andere nationale Befreiungsbewegungen wie die von Mao Zedong in China, von Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, von Che Guevara in Kuba und anderen Bewegungen in Afrika als Beispiel dienen würde. Deutschland lieferte durch den deutschen Ingenieur Stolzenberg Chemiewaffen an die spanische und an die französische Armee. (1923) gründete Abdelkrim al-Khattabi die Rif-Republik, die natürlich von keinem der kolonialen Großmächte anerkannt wurde. Dies erklärt, warum die Rif-Republik nie militärisch, politisch oder finanziell unterstützt worden ist. Abdelkrim al-Khattabi wurde mehr und mehr von einem Teil der französischen, der spanischen und der deutschen Bevölkerung unterstützt. Auch Künstlergruppen unterstützten ihn. Unter anderem forderten Louis Aragon, Paul Éluard, André Breton und Raymond Queneau schon lange ein Ende des Krieges. Sie haben sich teilweise von Abdelkrim inspiriert. die westlichen Truppen waren nicht die einzigen Beteiligten. Das französische Militär rekrutierte massenhaft Soldaten aus dem gesamten französischen Kolonialreich, insbesondere aus Marokko, aus Senegal und aus Madagaskar, die dann an der Front eingesetzt wurden, während die französischen Soldaten meist die Nachhut bildeten. Das Ziel dieser Strategie war es, die eigenen Soldaten zu schonen und den Hass zwischen den afrikanischen Ländern zu erweitern, um eine gemeinsame Revolte zu verhindern. Die gleiche Strategie wurde knapp 14 Jahre später von den Nationalsozialisten während der Besetzung Frankreichs mit der französischen Polizei angewendet. Dank der aufeinanderfolgenden Niederlagen der spanischen Armee fand Frankreich einen Vorwand, noch im selben Jahr offiziell in das Geschehen einzugreifen. Mit einer Armee von 500.000 Soldaten, 264 Flugzeugen, einer beeindruckenden Flotte und unzähligen Panzern wurde den spanischen Truppen beigestanden und das besetzte Gebiet verteidigt. Die französischen Soldaten wurden von dem General Philippe Pétain befehligt. Pétain, der zukünftige Kollaborateur des Naziregimes während des Zweiten Weltkrieges. Die spanischen Soldaten wurden ihrerseits vom General Franco befehligt, der in Spanien eine faschistische Diktatur aufgebaut hat und ebenfalls zum Kollaborateur des Naziregimes geworden ist. Weil es fast alle kolonialen Großmächte betraf, Deutschland, Frankreich, Spanien, Großbritannien, haben sie alles getan, um die Archive mit den Dokumenten über den Rifkrieg zu schließen. Frankreich wurde von Seiten Italiens und den Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika politisch und militärisch unterstützt. 1926 ergab sich Abdelkrim el-Khattabi der französischen Armee und wurde für 20 Jahre auf die Insel La Réunion verbannt.
I used to think that I could not go on and life was nothing but an awful song. But now I know the meaning of true love. I'm leaning on the everlasting arms. If I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. See, I was on the verge of breaking down. Sometimes silence can seem so loud. There are miracles in life I must achieve. But first I know it starts inside of me. Oh, if I can see it, then I can be it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. Oh, I believe I can fly. Hey, 'cause I believe in you. Oh, if I can see it, then I can do it.
And a special event, we're very pleased to be with Mr. Oscar Brown Jr. in all places, Berlin, Germany. Welcome to Berlin and the Collegium, Oscar.
Thank you, Donald Griffith. It's a long way from Chicago.
Why are you here, Oscar?
Well, here it is. I put the advertisement right on my shirt. The Berlin Jazz Fest '98 brought me over to perform on the 7th at the, what did they call it? The Pregnant Oyster. Yes. And lovely auditorium. Strange looking building, but a very lovely auditorium.
And what did you do, Oscar, for those people who are not familiar with your artistry?
Well, I sang a whole bunch of songs, most of which I have written, well, all of which I have written in one way or another. Either I had collaborated with some jazz musicians like Bobby Timmons or Charlie Parker, who wrote the music to which I set lyrics, or other songs that I had composed entirely on my own.
Speaking about working with musicians, I've often heard it said that musicians and singers are not exactly the best combination in the world. They sort of have different directions or different perspectives. What has been your experience over these last 100 or so years?
I forget. It's been so long. Well, my experience has been that there are varied situations, you know. Some work very well. There have been musicians that I've gone to work with and rehearsed one day, and we get on that night and really knock it out. There have been other situations, sort of like the one I was here in Berlin, where we rehearsed for several days, but the result wasn't executed, it wasn't a good execution, or it wasn't as good an execution as we had anticipated. So it varies. I've gotten to the point now where I like working with one musician. I like working with a pianist. Before he was killed, my son and I worked together. He was a bassist. And it gives another focus to the performance, because my songs are pretty much lyric driven. And if the people don't understand the story and don't understand the words, then I don't come off as well as I like.
Oscar, what is the source of your creativity?
You know, the great giver, you know. I am gifted, and that I kind of recognized when I was in college. I was 17 years old, and I was at the University of Wisconsin, and I flunked everything except English composition, in which I got an A+, because if they asked for a 100-word essay, I could write a 100-word poem, and I just dazzled my instructor. And as I say, that was the only real success I had in college, and that caused me to change my major from pre-law to an English major with the determination that I would become a writer. That was when I was 17. It was probably 10 years or more before I really would say that I was a writer, because it took me that long to become the kind of writer that I wanted to be. And it's a rather a personal matter. I didn't just want to say it for show. I wanted to mean it. So a guy asked me one time, at that point, he said, what do you do? I said, I'm a writer. Oh, yeah. He said, how do you know you can write? I said, because I can read.
Oscar, when you create the songs, or when you create the material that you do, is there ever a concern that the well might run dry? That the source of creativity or the ideas might not be there when you reach for them?
I'm as sure it's going to come as tomorrow. I mean, nothing's promised. Tomorrow isn't promised. But I have faith that it's coming. I certainly have faith in my ability to write from day to day and from time to time. I don't write with the same sort of anxiety that I did. By that I mean anxiety to get my creativity out. I've done enough of it now to the point where I can sort of coast. I'm on cruise, but I am never desperate for inspiration, because when it comes, I can deal with it, whatever it happens to be. Sometimes it'll be something funny, you know. Sometimes it'll be something quite serious. Sometimes it'll be just a phrase that occurs and sparks me to write. But the answer to your question is no. I am never afraid the well is going to run dry.
In the creation of your material, the plays, the songs, the poetry, is your reading ever a source of inspiration or information? And if so, which authors and when?
Well, I'm not what you would call an avid reader. I would think that most of my inspiration tends to come from reading the I Ching, because I'm a devotee of that, and I cast the coins quite frequently and about all kinds of subjects with all kinds of questions. The I Ching being an oracular book that was started in China thousands of years ago, predates Confucius, who was a contributor, and has come down for all these centuries. It was translated by a German named Wilhelm, and that's the version of it that I first found. But now I have another version called The Changing Truth. It's over there by Niwa Ching, and I find that a very profound philosophy. It's based on Taoism, which isn't exactly a religion. That is, a lot of religions seem like man's attempt to make a deal with God. You know, it's like if I say so many Hail Marys, or if I say Nam Yoho Renge Kyo, or if I bow down and pray at such a time, well, you're going to pay the rent, right? I mean, you're going to send me the money, I'll get the car, or the girl, or whatever. So that's I don't really have faith in that. Faith comes through revelation. And you see things and you have to recognize the truth in them and put them into your life. So the I Ching recommends that. And recommends that you work constantly on improving yourself. And if you do that, if you don't backtrack, you don't backslide, then you're going to definitely make progress. And certain, I guess you could call it serenity or confidence in the way things are going comes over you. The world is pretty much as it is. You just have to accept it. And how do you fit into it? How can you deal with it?
When you talk about being gifted, what does that mean? Where does that source of inspiration or that structure come from that can permit one to be seen as or thought of as gifted? What does that mean?
There's a current school of thought, Donald, that suggests that everybody is gifted in one way or another. We all have aptitudes, talents that we get from the talent giver. You can call it what you want. You can call it Allah, you can call it God, you can call it Buddha, you can call it anything you want to. But it's the same force, the same creative force that brought us into being. And there's only one being. That's the I am that I am, and there's no other. You can't divide those things. So I think it comes from that spiritual source. How it comes, I don't know. I say thanks a lot, for letting me be the medium for what I do. But then you have, the things that you do, your aptitudes and your gifts and your talent, in the same, with the same understanding that each of us has gifts. People now think that to measure intelligence by IQ, intelligence quotient, it's not how intelligent are you or how smart are you, but how are you smart? So that each of us, if we find the ways in which we are smart, if those things are recognized, appreciated, not just in the sense of being enjoyed, but as you would appreciate a piece of property by putting a house on it, by building on it, by expanding. If it's appreciated, if it's trained, disciplined, and provided an audience or, a market or whatever, then, of course, it can thrive, it can flourish, and it can do what the gift was meant to do. Otherwise, Charlie Parker might wind up thinking he's a crack dealer in these days and time because his gift is not appreciated, it's not even recognized because they took music out of the school.
I was going to ask you about that. When you talk about discipline and appreciation, that seems to me to be something that needs to be cultivated, and it takes time. How does one bring that state of affairs about so that the artist or whomever it is has that infrastructure in which to participate or in which to work?
Well, that's a great experiment that we have to undertake because there's resistance to developing those artists, particularly if the artists are going to attack the lies that prevail in society with truth. If they're going to, if greed is selling ugliness, then you can only overcome that with beauty. But there'll be all kinds of resistance to that beauty. And the problem that we face today is how to overcome the resistance that we find, how to find other avenues to reaching the public with beauty, with inspiration, with something positive, how to raise our children to enjoy life. That means music appreciation, for one thing, because you're not just trained, when you teach music, you're not just training the gifted musician, you're training the audience that the gifted musician needs. They got to be able to understand the medium in which the artist is working. So it's a constant process to fight against the resistance to beauty, I think, right now. When I grew up, of course, you had Duke Ellington and you had Count Basie and Benny Goodman and Stan Kenton and, a lot of musicians making a lot of music. That evolved into Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie and into some, Gerald Wilson, really big, beautiful sounds. But bit by bit, the music industry tried to squeeze them out. Well, of course, it died. In some instances, they died out. But cowards, mortals, anyway, same thing. So they passed, but nothing much is being done to replace them. That's what I was saying before. You know, the Charlie Parker today, he's encouraged to be some kind of gangbanger or something, because there's no music, there's no recognition of his talent. They've taken music largely out of schools in the United States, in Chicago, all across the country, as if it's some kind of budgetary matter. But the chancellor at the university where I'm now a professor at the University of California in Riverside, Raymond Auerbach, said it's not a budgetary, it's not a financial matter, it's political. Because music is a gathering force, music is a moving force. Music is memorable. It can take you back to a time. You hear a song and you can remember the first time you heard the song, and what she was wearing, and where you were, and what you were trying to do. I mean, it all sort of floods back automatically. You can't even resist it. Or you can find a tune going around in your head. You hate that tune, but you can't throw it out. Music is that moving a thing.
Well, when you talk about music or art or whatever it is being conveyed in the circumstances that one quite often finds, what is the relationship between these conveyance vehicles and economics?
Well, art, I mean, economics is a part of art. You know, you've got to count how many people are going to be in the cast, how much are they going to have to be paid, how many days of rehearsal are you going to have, how many sheets of music do you have to have, how many musicians do you have to have in the orchestra. All of that determines whether or not you're going to be able to do it, because if you can't raise the money that is, I mean, we're talking professionally now, if you can't raise the money that it takes to pay those people, you can't do that show. So you know, I've done some things. I've cut albums in which they ran out of budget, you know, and so we wind up with just doing a conga drum or just doing a piano, where we had started with a big band, but we ran over budget, and the art of the final tracks was determined by the amount of money that was left in the budget. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. Sometimes less is more, but it definitely is a determiner in what you're going to do.
Oscar, what is the state of the union at this present time?
You mean the United States of America? Chaotic. Really out of control. Have no idea where they're going. Have no idea how they got themselves into predicament now where, along with like Helen of Troy and Joan of Arc, you got Monica Lewinsky. Give me a break. Well, at least Hillary Clinton has come out of it. She's a champ. She, you know, because she could have gone off and been really bitchy and brought the country down. If she jumped over there with Paula Jones and said, yeah, he's a rat, we would have a big problem, because you can't attack the president without attacking the presidency. And as you know from having grown up in the United States, that our government is predicated on three equal parts: the judicial, the legislative, and the executive. If you attack the presidency, you wreck the tripod, and the whole thing tilts.
In attacking the presidency, or perhaps the president, what is the agenda, in your opinion? What might be the latent language in terms of what it is the people who are undertaking the attacks, what is it they are really after?
Sleaze, you know, scandal. They talk from a moral base about, you know, debasing things in front of your children. They put it on the internet for everybody to see, and they just wallow in it with a sanctimonious, self-righteous attitude, as if they're not really doing that. Hey, man, come on. We see what you're doing. I don't care the fact that you got on a three-piece suit and wingtip shoes. That don't mean a damn thing. You are really really a damnable person, because you are just putting filth out before us and making that a political issue. And they lost for doing that. Now, on the other hand, everybody likes joy. But the joy is that whatever joy he was getting with this young woman, that was kind of reckless, to say the least, unthought out, and really inexplicable when you consider this is a man who talks to prime ministers and kings and people. What is his point? What is he doing? There has to be some sense of appropriateness here. And you are the President of the United States. A lot of people hold that in high esteem. You don't just casually, get it off with an intern in such a shameful situation. You got to lie about it in front of everybody. That's ridiculous too. So the answer to your question, I have no idea which way it's going. They've unleashed, Pandora's box is open, and they've unleashed stuff that you can't predict. Who would think that as a result of the election, Newt Gingrich had to resign within a 2-3 day period? You thought he was pretty well entrenched. You heard him come in 4 years ago with the Republican Revolution, the contract with America, and all the confidence in the world. Now he's on his way out because he thought by belaboring this Monica Lewinsky situation, the Republicans would make political gains, when it turned out instead to be just the opposite. So I'm certainly not privy to all the kind of stuff that's going on in Washington, D.C., or, behind the scenes or in front of the scenes. So I don't know where it's going to go, but I don't feel comfortable with the way it is. It could tilt in a very bad way.
Is there a relationship between the North America's current position, economic and military position in the world? Is there a relationship between that and the behavior, or possibly even the pathology that you're describing?
Well, obviously there is, they're the great giants. What's there some terms that they use? The great Satan. That's what the Iranians call them. But they're the great power. They're the superpower of the world, the only one. But they have seemingly become so conceited in their attitude, so self-assured, so self-righteous, that they've overblown the whole thing and tilted into nonsense, into slut. Wow.
What is the state of the union as far as black people in the United States are concerned, Oscar?
Well, there's probably a great deal of difference of opinion on that point. But while there are many black people who are economically well off, better off perhaps than ever, there is also a permanent black underclass. And I raised the question, how long is permanent? And how far down is under? And how large is a class? If you have a whole class of people, it's not like a class in school at UCR or something like that. It's a class of people that permeates all parts of the country, and goes from generation to generation. And I say that when you have that many people in a situation that keeps them permanently under, then the government has to really have an attitude about that. They have to seriously consider that, make studies, and make public policy as how they're going to deal with this. And I think the policy that has been made in America is revealed in the word permanent. If the government intended that this black underclass be relieved of that condition at some point, then they'd call it the temporary, the interim black underclass. But their intention is obviously to keep it permanent.
children first, man. Women and children first. Your strap look good.
Did I say 180? Maybe I'm a little more.
Oh! Come on, let's get these MREs out. Come on, player. Will do. Now, what they got in here? Bricks?
I can't believe all this flooding. We supposed to be shooting a video tomorrow.
Is that a Rolex?
Oh, this old thing?
My cousin, she's on the usher board. She prophesied this whole thing. I don't know why I didn't listen to her.
There's no way she could have known this was gonna happen.
I don't know how she knew it was gonna happen. She offered to drive me out of town a few days ago.
I know these clowns are not gonna sit up here taking pictures of those buildings. Hey, are you listening to me? People over there need your help. Are you gonna help somebody?
Cameraman, tell me you got that. I think it's coming from that window over there. Hear that helicopter?
Oh, they saving people on the roof.
William, get up here. They saving people.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Come on, Keisha, give me your hand. Just reach. Reach!
Now I'm climbing as quick as I can.
We're not gonna be out here all day, is we? It's way too hot for that.
Now we just giving out one fan for folks only till we run out. You hear me?
Yes, Pastor. I won't give them all out at once.
How many do you need, sir?
2.
1, 2.
Thank you, kind.
The 2 of diamonds is a spade.
Oh, man. I forgot again.
$200.
Honestly, that is unnecessary, man.
No, you're a professional, and I respect you.
It's unethical for me to take money
Wait.
from you.
The sun's blazing, my bladder's leaking, I ain't eating.
Yo, bro, your phone is working.
Good.
Where you going?
This sweat is stank and sticking to me. Quit sticking to me. Quit sticking to me. Oh, yes, that's much better. Oh, Jesus, goodness gracious.
Your fault.
You need to get him on the blue pill.
Viagra's not gonna help.
Yeah, he's not limp. He just got a low count. That's a whole different situation.
Different. It's all the same thing. What did the doctor say?
Doctor said that we are never going to be able to have children together. So we need to start thinking about a new solution. Now, whether that is adoption or a sperm bank, or we can take a drive to the dog pound and pick up a
Well, wait. Slow down. Watch out for the old man.
Hey, stay. Wait, lady. There's a senior coming through.
Bless your heart, sister.
Bless you, ma'am.
Okay, I think that's clear.
See, you got to learn to reframe the whole thing.
Yeah, cop a cocker spaniel, because kids is overrated in here.
True. You can have mine.
I'm done talking to y'all.
All I'm saying is, it ain't all good.
Would you two stop trying to scare me?
See, that little nigga needs something you can't provide. See how that cuts you inside.
He a Vietnam vet, yet you sweating this wall.
Yeah, well, we are too. Not as young as he used to be.
He'd have starved if I hadn't left for lack of food.
True.
Catch-22. You did the right thing.
Dang! That is just wrong. Your daddy say you miss me.
He did not lie.
Why you ain't call me?
We split, bro.
Whose fault is that, though?
What did I do?
You do not trust me.
Please. Trust is a synonym for sucker.
See, you're not ready.
Willing and able. But on my terms.
Swarm another week without me then.
That's cool. I got options.
What options?
Options.
Could you two use some assistance?
Sure could.
Good. Them cookies could keep a cop's lips locked about you looting.
Shoot, this food's from my fridge.
Did you eat them all?
No.
Got milk?
Kid's a comedian, yes? Best be quiet.
Of Club Riot. Rich Robinson, right? I knew you.
Who?
Lou Robinson's son. Of saxophone fame.
One and the same.
Shame on you, too.